But I know change gon' come. Oh, yes, you will. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. I do really hope that, though we are going through difficult, turbulent times, and poor Datro for fun, who had to sit and watch Chelsea scrape out a turgid draw against Nottingham Forest away at the City Ground. Of course, there was a post-match presser video that I did yesterday. Feel free to go and watch that. But welcome back to Chelsea news, and of course, here on the dawn, the morning of a transfer window, Chelsea news is of course popping at the moment, as one would expect. And with Chelsea looking like absolute dogs, so-and-so, our ambitious ownership, who like to splash the cash, are probably thinking, right, time to take action. And indeed it is. Look, you all have your opinions, rightly so. Football fandom is a game, or football is a game of opinions. And yes, quite. Look, the truth is, a lot of people are uninspired with the Chelsea management at the moment, but Chelsea management is a holistic view now from the the ownership model, the recruitment team, the development team, and indeed the management team, with little, incremental changes like the promotion of Neil Bath, who's one of the excellent assets of Chelsea. It's joined up thinking that we have yearned for a long time, which leaves you with perhaps your own criticisms of Graham Potter, which are of my own, of course, as well. We all do. But the truth is, people who know a lot more about football than I can't speak for you, but people who are much more well-informed in the game than I, say that Graham Potter is an excellent football coach, and he's the appropriate man to work with in a developed project. So you got to give him time, and he will get time. We'll talk about that in a moment. I have probably bigger criticisms with... We are, by the way, this is a Chelsea news video. Don't get it twisted. We're about to jump into articles from The Athletic to give you updates. Just a quick early monologue for this. But for me personally, I don't have a huge problem with lineups, formations, ideas of playing. We just don't score goals. Goals conceded isn't even that bad. We should just be tucking away a lot more goals, and we don't do that. And it's been a long-standing problem for us. And I think we just need a huge clear out, to be honest. I really do think we need a massive clear out. And I'm not going to judge the management and the project until we've seen a bit of nurturing in there. It's tricky. It's tough. There's suggestions that there's going to be huge clear outs. But like I said yesterday, I'm just pleased that and, let's be honest, turgid, horrible performance was on the 1st of January. Look at it this way, ladies and gentlemen. We're on for an unbeaten 2023. Like and subscribe to this channel, Football Therapy. Today we're jumping into news about a penalty loss box specialist, that sounds nice, and the midfield. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. So, João Felix, first of all, has been talked about a lot. I'm just going to turn this heater off, one sec. Cooking myself alive. I just disappeared there. Yes. So, João Felix, the Portuguese attacking midfielder, forward, inside forward, wide forward, winger, whatever you want to call him. Available on loan, and loads are really available this January for a lot of money, and loads of clubs are looking at him. Most notably, like Manchester United and stuff like that. Chelsea are as well. But I'm going to reference an article here on The Athletic, a small portion of it, by David Ornstein himself. He's been talking about Felix, but he references Chelsea here, so check this out. He says, Chelsea are looking to upgrade their attack in this transfer window. Bearing in mind, of course, we've already signed Datro Fofana, who, by the way, at this point could feature like an actual striker, a young, dynamic striker that wants to maybe play on the shoulder and be a bit physical. Like, yes, I know I digress again right now, but yesterday we got bullied, bro. Like, There's nothing sadder as a Chelsea fan. Arsenal used to get bullied. Arsenal were the soft ones. We were Chelsea. We don't get bullied. We've been getting bullied for far too long. Tuchel said it as well. Tuchel said we get bullied. And I've had enough. Chelsea are looking to upgrade their attack this transfer window. And it is believed they are looking closely at João Felix. Again, though, his profile may not be ideal, as the West London club, hey, that's us, would prefer a more specialist penalty box goal scorer. Sounds nice, right? We haven't had one of those since Diego Costa, who, by the way, for about 45 minutes looks pretty good against Man United. But I'm not suggesting he's the answer, because I'm done with old strikers. Aubameyang. Yeah, I don't think João Felix is the answer. You know, in terms of like diminutive, talented, floaty attackers, Pulisic, Havertz, do you know what I mean? Like these kind of style players. I do think Ziyech is still very different and maybe a little bit wasted in terms of creativity, but João Felix just doesn't feel like the answer to this current problem at Chelsea. All involved are aware that the situation is very fluid. So the deal is with João Felix at the moment that he is available on a 6-month loan that could cost up to 20 million euros. I believe that will be loan fee and wages together. But regardless, 20 million for a player for 6 months, even if you get some sort of favourable, like, I don't freaking know, like option to buy afterwards, it just doesn't seem like the sexiest and best option. But, you know, Datro Fofana may get a chance. And the more and more this season looks like a bit of a sort of transitional write-off, the more that hopefully Graham Potter turns to the likes of Amari Hutchison and Datro Fofana. I tweeted this morning, like, our drop-off is so profound about Reece James. I want to see Trev Chalobah play at right-back. He has played at right-back for Chelsea before, under Tuchel, I believe. Just defend that right side and let the people in front of you attack. You know, like, cover the old centre-backs that we're seemingly playing at the moment. Please. Right, I'm going to be jumping over now to an article by Simon Johnson, of course, Chelsea correspondent of The Athletic, to talk about Chelsea's midfield. And, ladies and gentlemen, that's a huge problem for us. We get bullied, we don't have the passes, we don't have the dynamism. We are screwed in midfield, and it does make both our attack and defense worse. If you don't have a good midfield, then you are in trouble. I'm just gonna have a sip of my San Pellegrino, which is a delicious drink. Other drinks are available. Pomegranate flavor. That is delicious. So you know what I think of midfield, ladies and gentlemen. It is an important part of the pitch that supercharges it both in front and behind. So Simon Johnson writes this. On the day of the January transfer window officially opened, Chelsea put in another disappointing performance away from home. The timing seemed significant, yeah, I feel so. As soon as the final whistle blew on Sunday's 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest, the demand from Chelsea fans was pretty clear. Apart from some wanting to the removal of the head coach Graham Potter, after less than 4 months and only 16 matches, of which the first 9 were unbeaten, he writes in brackets, which isn't going to happen. The desire for new players to be added to the squad. Chelsea haven't exactly been slow to act in the latter's regard, of course. Striker David Datro Fofana, who's just turned 20, has already completed a move from Molde. The 18-year-old midfielder Andre Santos has arrived in England. That's all complete. The Brazilian midfielder, who's very, very highly rated. And the price has been agreed with Monaco for the France and Ligue 1 defender Benoit Badiashile, who's 21. So that's free through the door on the 1st of January. Well, essentially through the door. We spoke about that on a recent video. But Chelsea supporters want more high-profile names than those youngsters. And they've all been excited by the reports linking Benfica midfielder Enzo Fernandez, fresh off helping Argentina win the World Cup. So yes, this is where it gets relevant. Midfield is an area of concern, and that's the club's top, and the club's top brass want to address the aim. We want to address the midfield. Simon Johnson's writing here. We want to address the midfield, and that's a big problem. And surely, even, I don't know how new Todd Boehly is to the game of soccer. I think he knew about it a little bit prior to buying Chelsea. Surely you just look at this and go, midfield, mate. So, we're looking at that. Fernandez's name is not the only one on the shopping list, but is one that has got a lot of people's attention. So, it's likely that Fernandez, who turns 22 in a couple of weeks, and was voted the best young player at the World Cup, will move to Stamford Bridge. But will he move before the window shuts? Well, we know that Benfica wanted to move quickly should they sell him. There's been a lot of suggestions lately that a deal being agreed with Benfica, or Chelsea's willingness to pay the full release clause of £106 million, apparently is all premature. So this is really interesting, because this is a bit of conflicting of reports here, because Fabrizio Romano has said Chelsea would pay more than the release clause for a favourable payment structure. Now, The Athletic, who, by the way, like, sometimes, like, Ornstein is the top tier. The Athletic's information is, like, it is really good. And sometimes Romano's wrong. You can forgive him for that, because he's on top of absolutely everything, even, like, transfers that no one gives monkeys about. So I don't know, maybe this is right. Talks are ongoing, but Chelsea have a price in mind for Fernandez, and it isn't that high. That's very interesting. They are not planning on paying such a large sum, and will not be pressured into doing so. There is also a belief that no club will pay that release clause, hence their determination to negotiate a lower fee. Because the story was that Chelsea were going to pay this release clause or more, and that other clubs, like your Real Madrids and your Liverpools and even your Manchester Uniteds, couldn't pay said release clause till the summer. The story wasn't that Enzo Fernandez will be bought, but just be bought for less than the release clause. That's interesting. For their part, Benfica are in no rush to sell a player who's only made 25 appearances for them, having been signed from the Buenos Aires side River Plate in July. The Lisbon side, also, they don't need any money, because they've just sold Darwin Núñez to Liverpool for up to 100 million euros last summer. Excuse me. So yeah, that is true. Benfica also want to keep Fernandez to help them make a success of the season. This is what I've said. They lead the league by 5 points, despite losing 3-0 to third place Braga on Friday, their first game since the World Cup. Of course, Fernandez started that and just apparently played it safe. Well, they play Club Brugge and Inter of Belgium next in the Champions League. Which, by the way, they've just appointed Scotty Parker. I know it's Brugge or Bruges, depending on where they come from. But yeah, they're Scotty Parker managing in the Champions League. That's wild. So what isn't in dispute is how highly Chelsea rate Fernandez. He was installed as their number one midfield target, along with Borussia Dortmund's and England international Jude Bellingham, after watching his impressive performances in Qatar. Yeah, so look, either Jude Bellingham or Enzo Fernandez would be ridiculous. And it shows Chelsea seriously are highlighting or addressing the huge problems that are in this midfield. As Joe Tweedy calls it, the gaping chasm in midfield, which he's absolutely right, by the way. But both those candidates, Fernandez and Bellingham, are huge top tier, high profile potential replacements, or replacements, upgrades, not even replacements, just putting a type of player in there that just wasn't in there before. As far as all the hype over a possible Fernandez transfer in recent days, though, it's obviously in some people's interest to push the price as high as possible, and is likely being done among reasons that is being played out so publicly. So what are the chances for Chelsea bidding for somebody else? Well, Bellingham's future won't be resolved until the summer, and Chelsea are fully aware they are facing an uphill battle to sign him. Yeah, everyone wants Bellingham. While they haven't given up, there is a feeling that within the club that Liverpool would be in pole position should the 19-year-old join a Premier League club at the end of this campaign. Yeah, I've said it before, it doesn't sit right with me, but I feel like he would go to Liverpool. There is competition for Fernandez too, but by starting negotiations now, Chelsea's new owners aren't playing catch-up the same way they are with Bellingham, who has been targeted by Liverpool for some time. So they've been courting Bellingham for a while, like whispering in his ear. come to Anfield, it'll be wicked. We're going to set up for you. We're going to build around you. And we've been talking about this for a while now, and that's pretty alluring, right, isn't it? One of the possible options under consideration is a deal with him to be agreed for Benfica this month, but sees him joining in the summer, which is fine, but that truly is a write-off for the season, isn't it? One of the reasons Chelsea aren't going to be rushed into doing anything is because they've had positive talks with Kante. Fine, we've spoke about that recently, yesterday's video in the morning or perhaps the day before, like, provided it's a performance-based contract and a bit of a pay-to-play, then not all of us would be upset with Kante staying, I don't think. You know, the 2018 World Cup winner is unlikely to be available for selection until March, when he turns 32. Yeah, damn. Yeah. For a player that needs to run around a lot, it does make you think, Having been out of a serious hamstring injury since August, but the strong prospect of the Frenchman's future at the club has been secured, has taken away with one of the uncertainties for next season. Now, this bit's interesting. In saying that, sources connected to senior players are under the impression this will be Jorginho's last season with Chelsea, and he would obviously need replacing if that's the case, because he plays all the time, Jorginho, doesn't he? Like, Jorginho splits opinions in terms of, I don't have an axe to grind with Jorginho because I know what he is, I know what type of player profile he is, and I know what he's good at, and why would you, and then that's fine, so use it right, and it works. He's a great guy, he's a professional, he's fun, he just seems like a good guy. No problem. And for a while I was like, yeah, keep Jorginho, get rid of Kante, but it was never keep both, was it? The Italy international is on course to be out of contract at the end of the season, aiming to return to a club in Serie A. He wants to basically maybe join Napoli. Although it's pointed out, his agent João Santos said recently Chelsea have offered Jorginho a contract extension. I guess that doesn't mean he's going to take it. Chelsea have other players in Fernandez and Bellingham under consideration. West Ham's Declan Rice is admired, but as with his England teammate Bellingham, he won't be going anywhere till the summer, and he won't be cheap, and loads of teams want Rice like they want Bellingham. Less costly players Chelsea are looking at include Brighton duo Moises Caicedo and Alexis Mac Allister, and Southampton teenager Romeo Lavia, who they inquired about at the end of the summer window. I still find the Romeo Lavia one weird, because he just came from the Man City Academy to Southampton, and it was saying we were offering silly money for him, so that must be a seriously data-led, proposition. McAllister is, of course, another World Cup winner whose stock is very high at the moment after impressing in Qatar. He would consider leaving Brighton if the deal is right. He could go from 9th to 8th or wherever we are on the table, 1 point above him. Don't look at the table. If the deal is right, there's suggestions he could cost Chelsea £60 million. Yeah, we value him 35 to 40 million pounds. Yeah, so do I, actually, mate. If we pay, look, I know he's a World Cup winner, but if we pay for 60 million for McAllister, after perhaps not getting Enzo Fernandez, that would suck big time. Chelsea haven't ruled out making a second attempt to sign Ajax midfielder Edson Alvarez, so he's 25, having failed to convince the Dutch club to sell the Mexico international before the summer deadline. However, persuading Ajax to cash in now won't be so easy mid-season, though the midfielder himself wanted the Chelsea move, and if you cast your minds back, he pushed for the move and was upset when he didn't get it. So, January is going to bring, hopefully, touch wood, a midfielder that saves us in midfield, a penalty box goal scoring specialist, maybe an exit, and maybe right back up. Just, I don't know, man. Let me know what you think. We're going to need an absolute all sorts of help, maybe even a couple of exits. Thank you for liking and subscribing. I will update you on all the stories as and when they come and it's popping off, so make sure you turn the bell on when you subscribe. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you very soon. Peace.